Captain Ibrahim Traoré is the current interim president of Burkina Faso, having assumed power in a military coup on 30 September 2022. At 37 years old, he is the second youngest head of state globally. Born on 14 March 1988 in Kira, Mohon Province, Traore pursued geology at the University of Ouagadougou, where he was active in student organizations advocating for social justice and anti-imperialist ideals. Traore's military career. Traore enlisted in the Burkinabe army in 2009 and received training in Morocco. He served in the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali and participated in the counterinsurgency operations in northern Burkina Faso. Promoted to captain in 2020, he became a vocal critic of the government's handling of the jihadist insurgency and the lack of resources for soldiers. This disillusionment led him to lead a coup in 2022, ousting then-President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba. Since taking power, Traore has positioned himself as a pan-African anti-colonial leader. He has distanced Burkina Faso from former colonial power France, expelled French troops, and aligned with Russia and other Sahelian nations in the Alliance for the Sahel States. His administration has implemented significant economic reforms, including the nationalization of key gold mines and the establishment of a national gold refinery. These moves aim to retain more revenue from the country's gold exports, which constitute over 80% of its export earnings. Additionally, Traore has initiated agricultural development such as agro-pastoral offensive to enhance food self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on imports. In terms of governance, Traore has reduced the salaries of government officials by 30%, while increasing civil servants' wages by 50%. He has also paid off a significant portion of the country's domestic debt and initiated infrastructure projects, including the construction of a new airport in Ouagadougou. In terms of popularity, Traore's leadership has garnered significant support, particularly among the youth and Pan-Africanists who view him as a symbol of resistance against foreign exploitation and a proponent of national sovereignty. However, his government faces criticism for suppressing press freedom, curbing dissent, and failing to restore security among ongoing jihadist violence that has displaced over 2 million people and left much of the country outside of state control. Despite these challenges, Traore remains a polarizing figure, celebrated by supporters as a revolutionary leader and criticized by detractors as an authoritarian ruler. So what has Traore done for Burkina Faso? Since assuming power in September 2022, Captain Traore has implemented a series of transformative policies aimed at reshaping Burkina Faso's economic, cultural, and geopolitical landscape. His administration has focused on economic self-reliance, cultural revival, and strategic international alliances. Economic and industrial reforms. Gold sector nationalization. Traore's government nationalized key gold mines, including Bonogu and Wagnyong, for 80 million, significantly below the initial 300 million valuation. This move aims to retain more revenue from the country's gold exports, which constitute over 80% of its export earnings. A gold refinery establishment. In 2023, Burkina Faso inaugurated its first gold refinery, processing 142 tons of raw materials to produce 93 kgs of refined gold. This initiative marks a shift from exporting refined gold, allowing the country to retain more value from its gold resources. Agricultural modernization. The government distributed over 400 tractors, 200 tillers, 710 motor pumps, and 714 motorcycles to rural farmers. This mechanization drive has led to increased agricultural productivity, with significant rises in tomato, millet, and rice production. Industrial development. Traore's administration has established Burkina Faso's first tomato processing plant and a cotton processing facility, reducing reliance on exports and adding value to the local agricultural products. Infrastructure and cultural activities. Infrastructure projects. The government has invested in infrastructure, including the construction of the Ouagadougou Donsin Airport, set to be completed by 2025, and the expansion of the Bobo Dios Lasso Airport. These projects aim to strengthen trade and tourism and have created numerous jobs for local citizens. Cultural revival. In a move to promote national identity, Traore's government banned the importation of European-style wigs for lawyers, mandating 100% African attire in courts. Additionally, the use of French as an official language has been discontinued in favor of local languages. Geopolitical shifts. Alliances with Russia. Burkina Faso has strengthened its ties with Russia, reopening the Russian embassy in 2023 after a 31-year hiatus. This move reflects a strategic pivot from traditional Western alliances. Expulsion of French troops. In 2023, Traore expelled French troops from Burkina Faso, officially ending Operation Sabre, a decision which aligns with his vision of enhancing regional sovereignty and fostering independent governance. Challenges and criticisms. Despite these achievements, Traore's administration faces significant challenges. The country continues to grapple with ongoing violence and insecurity, with over 60% of the territory outside government control and millions displaced or in need of aid. Critics also point to concerns over press freedom and the suppression of dissent. In summary, Captain Traore's leadership has brought about significant changes in Burkina Faso, focusing on economic independence, cultural revival, and strategic international alliances. While his administration has achieved notable successes, it continues to face complex challenges that require careful navigation. So, the question that's been on everyone's mind is, why does Traore dislike France? Captain Ibrahim Traoré's dislike or opposition to France is rooted in a combination of historical, political, and strategic reasons, many of which resonate with broader Pan-African and anti-colonial sentiments in Burkina Faso and the Sahel region. First of all, there's the colonial legacy. Burkina Faso was a former French colony, and like many post-colonial African states, it has struggled with the lingering effects of neo-colonial influences. Traore, like his political hero Thomas Sankara, promotes Pan-Africanism and believes France continues to exert undue political, economic, and military control over its former colonies. Discontent with France's military presence. France had a military presence in Burkina Faso under Operation Sabre, meant to fight jihadist insurgents. Traore and many Burkinabe viewed this presence as ineffective as security conditions deteriorated despite years of French involvement. In 2023, Traore expelled French troops, signaling a break with France's military role in the region. Another problem is the economic control and the CFA franc. Burkina Faso uses the CFA franc, a currency tied to the euro and historically controlled by France. Critics argue this system keeps West African economies dependent on France. Traore has expressed support for economic sovereignty and moving away from French dominated financial systems. There's a geopolitical shift and pivot to Russia. Traore has aligned more deeply with Russia and non Western powers, presenting himself as a part of the new generation of African leaders seeking multipolar partnerships. This shift includes joining the Alliance for Sahel states with Mali and Niger, all of which have removed French forces and ended security cooperation with Paris. There's a popular sentiment for national sovereignty. Anti French sentiment has been rising in Burkina Faso, especially among youth and the civil society who view France as a neo colonial power. Traore's rhetoric and policies tap into this sentiment, positioning him as a nationalist leader reclaiming sovereignty. In summary, Traore's stance against France is both an ideological and a strategic one. It reflects a desire to assert national independence, reject perceived neocolonialism, and to reposition Burkina Faso geopolitically. Whether this approach leads to lasting stability and prosperity remains to be seen. On March 18, 2025, Traore announced that his government had successfully thwarted a coup attempt. He reported that several individuals, including members of the security forces and external collaborators, were arrested for their involvement in the plot. The alleged co-conspirators had planned to destabilize the regime through a combination of misinformation, economic sabotage, and targeted assassinations. Traore emphasized the importance of national unity and vigilance in safeguarding the country's sovereignty. On December 6, 2024, Traore dismissed Minister Apollinaire Joachim KLM de Tembela and dissolved the entire government. The decree did not specify the reasons for this decision, but it marked a significant shift in the administration's structure. The move has raised questions about the future direction of the country's leadership and governance. In a bid to address the housing crisis exacerbated by ongoing conflicts, Traore's administration launched a project to construct 1,000 social housing units. The initiative aims to provide shelter for internally displaced persons and is part of a broader strategy to improve living conditions across the country. The project is being funded through streamlined government expenditures, ensuring that no deductions are made from citizens' salaries. Relations between Burkina Faso and France remain strained. In early 2025, Emmanuel Macron expressed concerns about the lack of recognition of France's role in combating jihadist groups in the region. In response, Traore criticized Macron, stating, "If anyone is ungrateful, it is him. France exists today thanks to our ancestors. They should pray for us." This exchange underscores the ongoing tensions and differing perspectives between the two nations. These developments highlight the complex and evolving political landscape in Burkina Faso under Traore's leadership. While he continues to garner support for his anti-colonial stance, and efforts to address national challenges, the country faces ongoing security threats and internal divisions that will shape its future trajectory.
Et le volet qui m'a le plus fait mal, pas parce qu'il est général ou parce que c'est un Américain ou quoi, c'est parce que c'est un noir. Et ça fait très mal de voir qu'on utilise un noir pour combattre un noir. Et ça n'a pas commencé maintenant. Il faut que ça s'arrête. Voilà, c'est très dangereux. Même la Libye, qui a détruit la Libye, on a encore utilisé un noir. Et je souhaite peut-être qu'il fasse son mea culpa. Il a parlé de l'or de Burkina qui sert à ce que nous on utilise pour se protéger et tout. D'abord, c'est l'or du Burkina, c'est pas son or. Ça, c'est la première des choses. En quoi ça le regarde? Ça le regarde, il faut que ça s'arrête maintenant. La race noire ne doit pas être utilisée pour combattre les noirs. Ils peuvent le regretter par plusieurs canaux, ils essaient de se rattraper. Mais non, ça a été dit publiquement, il faut se rattraper publiquement. Africain a compris, la jeunesse noire dans le monde entier a compris. Cette manipulation ne passe pas.
Hello everyone, Makadini, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for giving me your precious time and attention. Before I forget, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.